If you have any problems surviving in steel path, I can assure you that Gauss, he doesn't have those problems. And with half decent weapon setup, he also doesn't have any issues with killing. It doesn't matter if you're using melee or normal weapon. Especially if you focus on what you're doing. Oh, guess I'm not focused enough. Completely missed that one. I'll look one more time. And for those who don't know, this is CONVECTRIX, one of my favorite weapons for Gauss. It's a shotgun, so with arcane tempo and Gauss 4th ability redline, I get nearly 400 fire rate. Put worm buff on top of that, and I'm above 400 fire rate. So this is straight up the reason why CONVECTRIX is one of my favorites. Fire rate like this will make any magazine go completely empty, no matter what your accuracy is. So CONVECTRIX got this amazing mod. And all you do is just slash up enemies. In one of his loadouts, I'm using Nourish, but in case I wanna keep Gauss as he is baseline, I use build with a little bit viral, and I drop the 100 munition and the crit chance and the crit damage. For pure status, viral and slash. But viral in this case has way too much status weight for my liking. But this status weight is exactly why I'm using Nourish instead Mag Crush when I use CONVECTRIX. Because I prefer this build with some crit, especially if I had Riven with any luck, so I could get some more crit and crit damage. But you know, rolling crit damage, multi-shot and crit chance is really hard, so I just go with the multi-shot for as many slash as I can get. And signs like crit damage is really broken in Warframe, especially if you also get some crit chance for 100 munitions. And I don't have like anything right now other than slash. Having that Nourish just purely to get viral up is just perfect when I wanna use the primary. Especially with that the CONVECTRIX is the only weapon I really enjoy with that amount of fire rate. This is really precious. But honestly, I could work also with a magazine capacity or something like this on Riven. I just need the multi-shot. But for the case when I want to keep Gauss the baseline, I have my dual Ichor with viral electricity and melee influence. But if you don't mind not having Macrash, I have also variation with gas and electricity, also melee influence build of course, for those who enjoy the Nourish. But for those who really do hate to use melees, any kind of melee, I have still a melee that you will love, and it's Praedos. And the reason you will love it is because it's an amazing stat stick for mobility. 20 sprint speed and 30 parkour velocity, which has one more option, which is increasing the double jump strength by 100. But well, I stick with parkour velocity, so if you're only using primary or secondary, Praedos is like the perfect weapon for you. But is the mobility any important for Gauss? Well, of course it is. The red line battery charges from purely moving. So if you're a player that prefers to be always on the move, kill on the move, like melees, anything, or just shoot on the move, it's gonna be a perfect Warframe for you. But honestly, the best thing about Gauss is how easy you can acquire Immortality even as a new player. With just the fact that you have Gauss and you follow my build that I will showcase in a sec. Just look at that. You get your enemies, you press your 2, you go in here and tank everything. There's no way you're dying. The only thing that can kill you is magnetic or toxin. But even for this, as long as you take in any other kind of damage / impact, you should be fine. Because as long as you have energy, you will be fine. And your 2 is energy generator. And if you like nourish, this is an extra energy. Immortal. Perfect frame for new players. A lot of damage, a lot of utility, build variations, at least like 4 of them, that are completely viable and really good. For example, if you just want to invest into a frame and you don't have any good weapon, well, don't worry, you always have thermal sunder. It deals pretty decent damage for an ability that's armor stripping enemies. Before we go to the Gauss builds, we need to take a quick look on Grimoire, because it's one of the best accessories we can get. Since ability duration kinda works like ability strength for Gauss's 4, this is just a perfect addition to the entire build. Gets you longer 4, more benefit from 4, overall the best thing you can have. Before we go into the build variations, I need to mention the most important combo of your mods that you can have on the Gauss. So first of all, quick thinking, adaptation. This combo allows us to basically become immortal. With the addition of kinetic plating, which converts all the damage that you take to energy. This drains energy to stop the lethal damage, and this reduces the damage you take up to 90%, resulting in basically state of immortal. And if you struggle versus infested because of a toxin or magnetic, you can try to slap on the rage mod, which converts 40 of damage on health to energy. Since kinetic plating will not absorb toxin and magnetic, you will have some like extra safety net with rage, but I wouldn't really recommend to rely on it. I would just recommend to try any kind of like dodging, avoiding the damage instead of just face tanking it, because if you get used to it, you will not be able to like survive another Warframes at all. So just have it as safety net if you need, but I don't really recommend it. I just put some sprint speed and parkour velocity for the quality of life. As for the variety of builds, you can go either as a weapon buffer with ability strength, using your thermal transfer augment mode, so your thermal sunder gives you either cold or heat damage, or both of these. But in case if you wanna buff yourself with both of these, I'd suggest you to have some cold damage elemental combo, like viral. Just like the idea is not to combine heat and cold, because blast damage is the worst kind of elemental damage combo. So you either want heat as the solo element, that so you can get some heat stacks, for example, or cold for the slow and the crit damage multiplier. But you don't want, you just wherever you do, you don't want those two to combine in one, so you don't get the blast. And the aura mod and the exilus mod, they are all gonna be same for every build I'm gonna show here. Like squad receives sprint speed and preparation, just because I'm lazy, and mod efficiency gonna be for every variation as well, since it's just like the duration is the best friend of Gauss, and mod augmented is just to showcase that it's ability strength mod, but you can swap it to wherever you feel like. You probably noticed that I don't have quick thinking here, but that's only because I modded Gauss a bit wrong when I started with him. I had not literally zero experience about that frame, and I modded it wrong. So I need another polarity for this, so I can have it. So for your case, don't go out with secrets, just get quick thinking instead. The combo with quick thinking and adaptation plus your kinetic plating is just too good to pass on. It's literally survival combo that's one of the best you can get in this game. The second variations we can go for is ability range. And that was the thermal thunder combo I showed you before, hitting for millions. You don't have to necessarily go for that much range. You can like change over extended for an example ability strength mode, which will just boost your damage to the moon. But whenever I play this, I swap my Grimoire to load out with, instead of the ability duration mode, for the ability strength and mode augmented. Both of these give me 60% of ability strength once fully stacked. So I go above that demonic 40%. It looks literally disgusting to look at it. But this ability is more based on your passive, which is the fucking battery level. So as long as you have it on above the red line, this will armor strip. And the more hit stacks you have when you press the cold version of the ability, the more damage it will do. So if you have like 15 stacks of it, if it's possible to cast that fast, I don't know how long does the fucking status can last, but for my case, it's 18 seconds. So with the red line casting speed, you can get like 20 stacks as long as you have energy, obviously. And so the moment you press cold at that point, you're gonna do probably like hundreds of millions of damage with it. So if you slap crazy amounts of ability strength, you're just gonna realize you're killing anyway. Like those stacks, 20 or something, this is not needed. Like 3-4 stacks, and you're gonna just erase the entire room. Unless you have like the most tanky unit that I summoned when I was showcasing this in Simulacrum, then you will maybe need like 6 of them to kill them. But you can always just armor strip them, then stack them, and then for sure you don't need that many stacks. Like ability doing damage in minions plus armor stripping. This thing is amazing. And also, this build has mag crash. Since I anyway have so much ability range, I just really love any kind of like ability that pulls enemies in this game. So mag crash ends up having 21-meter radius of pulling enemies in. Like this is just an amazing addition to this build. And now for my favorite version that I feel like is just like the best feel for Gauss when you play it, like his theme being used to the max of it, the ability duration. And I have 2 variations for it, with simply baseline Gauss abilities and nourish version. And since I have very little range when I use this, because I completely maxed out the duration and sprint speed, I was before using also like a Nira's hatred mod for the extra 15, but I passed on it just purely for the sprint speed. And I swapped my thermal sunder instead before swapping it for mag crash, because I don't know, I cannot play Gauss without mag crash. It's just too much him in that ability, if you know what I mean. So I swapped out thermal sunder for nourish, and I just dropped all the efficiency for some extra ability strength to get the ability strength for the nourish energy conversion. And now your kinetic plating gives you even more energy for the quick thinking adaptation combo of survival. And on top of that, all of your weapons get the best elemental for the damage in this game, which is the viral. I think, personally, if you go for full duration without any range, thermal sunder will not be really needed, unless you wanna swap your nourish and put thermal transfer mode, the augment mode, to get cold and easily get any weapons with toxin. For example, maybe Kuvalich weapon with toxin. You get the cold, you get free viral on it. But since my CONVECTRIX has like no space really for any other mod than I have on it in the version with crit, I go for the nourish version. And I can also use my dual icors in gas. I can use my glaive for the viral and slash combo. I mean, viral is just too good to pass on. That's why I swapped thermal. I just used it before to get the red line battery, but I just used mag crash instead. And since this is my favorite and by far the most played build, like basically lock in, forget and play kind of mod setup, that's why this is the one I'm gonna showcase you in the video. Like I just truly believe this is as much Gauss as it can get. So I would be hurting my soul if I played anything else than this one. And I would obviously not be using nourish, but thermal sunder, if not the fact that I'm using CONVECTRIX mostly on Gauss. I just want the viral. Like the same idea I would be using thermal transfer augment mod is the same idea why I'm using nourish, just straight up to get the viral. Well, there's not much to say. Viral is broken. Viral is love, and viral is what you need for your damage to get into sky high levels. So here we are in survival mode. I just used my alternate fire on Grimoire to get the ability duration. As my red line is about to run out, I'm gonna drop it off myself. Restart the kinetic plating. 34 minutes in. And well, I drop down to mainly use my dual icers, just for the battery generation, for the melee hit. And CONVECTRIX is cool, but you know, in 3.7k kills, and I don't really try to get the highest kill per second, CONVECTRIX just doesn't really cut it. Like, would be better to get some AoE weapon for him. Maybe his signature, Exceltra Prime. Just the problem with Exceltra is always the ammo. Damn, man, stop running away from me. I needed to farm up some steel lessons because I didn't really have time to play recently. So I went for a longer mission and decided to start the video a bit later in, so we will see a bit higher levels. Oh, this pesky nullifier, man. Gotta redo my alternate fire and recast my red line. Instantly macrush, put it ASAP into the red line above territory and just keep on slashing. To be fair, Tualaikor is literally the melee turret, so if you prefer to play with a primary weapon, well, just get the turret and you will do pretty much the same. I just suggest you to get corrosive from turret instead Gauss. I just need electricity to be a solo mode for melees, for the melee influence obviously. But I think turret would do even better job because of the corrosive. And we are closing up on the 100. And as soon as we are on the 100, there's no point to bother with anything anymore. You can go and make yourself a coffee as long as your timer on the red line is sufficient enough. Damn, the fire rate gets really crazy. Let me check how much is it. 337 fire rate with Grimoire buff for the duration stacked, 180 attack speed, 224 reload and casting speed. Oh, that's pretty instant nourish, not gonna lie. Them nullifiers, the biggest enemies of anything that requires like any time of pre-stacking. Let's see, I should have picked a melee that can armor strip or put corrosive or swap my worm, because my worm is straight up set for buffing the primary weapon with its fire rate mod. Like if I had the Mechadok, it would be way better, or even a Darza just for the crit. Or if I wasn't using Siren's setup for Dual Icor and I had like some actual crit. Like, I don't even know if there was a nullifier. I don't know what took off my red line, but it's pretty fucking annoying. But look, like, all other abilities are... Is it just timed out? I don't think so. It just decided to go off. And melee influence is literally like, if you have any open space, this is the only melee weapon more arcane that you can really use. Otherwise, the kill per second will not be good enough. And the electricity stunning the enemies also kind of makes you 20 meters in AoE from the first target struck. Kinda, yeah. CC everything, so kind of an invulnerability for the time being. So hard to pass on it, really, especially with the weapon like Dual Icor, just perfect for it. Well, the stuff's pretty same throughout, no matter how long you're gonna stay, as long as you keep your eye on the red line to keep it over uh, the over the red line itself, you will be immune to damage basically. Remember, it cannot absorb toxin, but well, there is the quick thinking and so many other like enemies shooting you with different kind of damage type that you can absorb and replenish your energy. With the fact that nourish helps it even further, like you're completely fine. Especially if you have blind rage, it gets your efficiency down, the like bare minimum, but it's a good payoff. So it's like I'm spamming macros forever, but you see any energy issues? Or holding it, I don't know. It won't make any difference really. So the quick thinking, like I would have to show you again here instead of the simulacrum, but my red line needs to time out. Because as long as it's up, I will not take any damage. Because with the full red line, it's like when the battery reaches 100, it will not go down. So you basically absorb everything. You're immortal. Does it work in a normal run as well? Well, I guess so. Oh my god. No fire rate, no fun. Man, that's such a difference. Everything's so slow now. This is the perfect frame for people with the HDHD. At least they have like something to press always. Remember to get your battery to red line point before you press your 4, so you always have the uh, most duration on your 100. Melee influence is just like if you were a melee fanatic before, now you will never look back again. Like this is just too good. Remember, if you wanna like get up your battery in the best possible way, you need to turn off kinetic plating because it consumes it to give you the damage absorption. But if you're like confident, you will be fine. You can just turn it off and be sure your red line gonna be always ace up 200. And watch out for the golden bubbles. They are annoying. They are really annoying. And I don't think it matters even which Warframe you play. They're just annoying. Not much to be done about that. Just pop them from range. That's why range mods on melee weapons are broken. You get the bubble off before you come close. 4.4k kills, and I'm not even sure. Like, without melee influence, it would be 1/4 of it, maybe. And that's if I tried. Just look on the map instead of looking like on the screen what's happening. Like all the red enemy markers disappearing. This is when you know your build is good. It's just when you have to look on the map what dies instead on the screen. Finally, Acolyte comes when I have 100 battery. Well, he's gonna get completely annihilated by all the fucking enemy procs from melee influence. Because remember, the scaling on your melee influence is insane if you're hitting more targets. Grimoire, amplifier first. It's 60, now I can run away to get my red line. Recasting Macrash is faster than just running with it, remember? Now I can go back. Okay, well, much else to show. The only difference is when you play the range setup, you like kinda need to get your battery first to 100 because casting the fire is really annoying otherwise, since it drains your battery pretty heavily. But after that you can just stand in one place, wait for enemies to stack up your energy, kill them, repeat. For the melee buff setup, or any kind of weapon buff setup with the ability strength 1, it's a bit more tricky, because it's, in my opinion, the weakest variation of the builds. But well, I don't know why. When I started, I didn't read anything about Gauss, or didn't even test, and I just wanted like the most of redline, and instead of putting duration, I put ability strength, not knowing the duration will work like strength for that one. But ability duration is like just the best for Gauss. And the best thing is if you play melee and you're not using melee influence, but the other one, the name just fell off my head, the corrosive stacking one. It's so good because Gauss is probably one of the few frames that play duration and don't have issue of like remembering to recast abilities to keep the stacks of corrosive, since you're gonna be spamming your macrash anyway. What is the level on them? No, 195 for 45 minutes. I swear to God, like Warframe needs some like steel pad level 2 or anyway shape or form enemy level increases. Like it's so boring. I can't really force myself anymore to go that long in a single mission. I like repetitive stuff, but come on, like several hours? No. I want the difficulty level to be ASAP. And I don't want to talk about like deep Archimedia. This shit's easy. It's more annoying when you have all these negative effects. It's way more annoying than hard. That minus 75 ability duration is just a joke. Like I never pick it. Like fuck that 20 or whatever it is phosphor that I will get if I pick it. The fact that I have to fuck with it is just not gonna fuck with it. Violence, no. Stop turning off my abilities. Then this guy's annoying, just as the nullifiers. I was waiting the entire run to get him so I can show you how it looks like when there is violence turning off your abilities, and it just took 47 minutes to get violence finally out. Well, that should be enough then. Yeah, ain't that much of a problem. And if you're not playing melee, you can always play Madurai, so if anything manages to somehow get you down, but that's probably because you just forgot your kinetic plating or your red line, then you can just press your 1, or voice link a few times, then press your 1, and for free resurrect with like 2-3 alternate fires on your ramp. Well, not as long as you play the disc one. And this kinetic plating is prime sure-footed. Like I always love any kind of overguard or prime sure-footed in ability kind of Warframes. Like it feels like I play already Warframe so long, especially that I had a break before, but I started when the game was too new, so I emptied the content so fast, and still not having prime sure-footed and being so far away from it, just insane. Like I'm down to only like min-maxing my Revens, and I'm still so far from prime sure-footed. Like disgusting time gate on it, 400 days login, really disgusting for mod that gives you so much quality of life. For most of the Warframes, like anything outside Revenant or Overguards, kinetic plating and stuff like that. Like, for example, Saren even, one of my top favorites, she doesn't have like any way of getting rid of the knockback. So what I use instead is Worm, and I use melee a lot, so whenever I do heavy attack, I get the Carnice Stinger and all the Carnice mods sometimes even. I used to play with the full 3 set of Carnice, so whenever you heavy, I think you have to land a heavy blow kill, you get status immunity. You have 3 of them, you have 6 seconds of it. Like, that mod's amazing. You also get 30% avoidance. But okay, I think that should be enough by far. Well, Immortality, speed, fire rate, reload speed, melee attack speed. Is for everything you like, and he can also be a caster frame if you play with the range. You don't necessarily even have to play with overextended, you can just drop it and have like crazy damage and just fight in like
close corridors like this instead on the open spaces like this. Same outcome, to be fair. Art of War, you know? You need to play up to your strength. But since melee influence broken, I can pretty much do whatever I want with this kind of build. And I really love to cast frame, to use my Dante as a cast frame. I really don't like the thermal sunder combo. I just know it's really broken. Like hitting into a millions and having full armor strip is just crazy. But the fact that the quality of life requires you to first wait for 100, it's kinda killing it for me, because narrow minded is not really an option in that build, since it's gonna completely erase your range but give you the most of the duration. So I just prefer to play full duration and use my melee influence. Same thing, to be fair. To be fair, I think I will have like better kill per second with this or Torrid or anything. My god, I hate nullifiers so much. I prefer to fuck with the poison than, I mean poison toxin, than with the nullifiers. Fucking infuriating stuff to recast it all the time. But well, that would be... Oh, I completely nice if I didn't even knew I have it. That would be all from me for now though. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, share and subscribe. And as always, see ya in the next one.